Hi, everyone. It is the 27th of August, 2026. I hope you're all doing swell. Okay, this heat, and it should be feeling like I'm sitting in a refrigerator because it's 88 degrees as opposed to 100. But maybe it is the humidity. Maybe I don't know. I know that it's doing a shitload to my hair that I don't like, but could it be worse than South Carolina? I guess maybe. I don't know. Hello, Andrew Cruz and Tony, and Jane Northrup and Amelia and John KJ Adams, and the '90s Brooklynite. Hi, Kathleen. Hi. And Chris Max. Hi, Miss Blanche. Hello, everybody. Doreen Montoya, Nez Lover, Patricia White, and that looks like it for now. Yeah, you think my hair looks great. Okie dokie, windswept. Well, I did go walking and I just don't know what to do with my hair. Radar. Look at this. Okay. Couldn't be more obvious that this is not natural, and I really should have taken a capture of it, like, I don't know, 45 minutes ago, because there was nothing here, nothing. And then suddenly there were these red dots that manifested, and they just shot from South Dakota into Nebraska. You're getting quite a bit of hail right here in Nebraska. Bad storms for you guys. Okay. But what are you to make of this? Okay, this is not natural. How is this coming about? Look at all of the frequencies, nanotechnology. I'm going to have to create a playlist of videos that was so easy on Never Lose Truth, but I have no playlists on this channel. So I'm going to have to get working on it so that I can just say, there's a playlist on this channel, several videos talking about nanotechnology in use in our weather. Look how wonderfully defined this is. And wow, what a point. And it looks like a saw, right? It's serrated. Okay. Yeah. These are bad storms. In farm country. All right, Texas, you have. Texas, you either have fires or floods. But Texas is not the only state that has weather modification. Other states do. Most states do. Utility companies do. They provide weather modification. But Texas has their Texas Weather Modification Association providing weather modification for Texas. And look at Florida. Okay, I'm a little concerned. I thought Sandra Pilgard. Oh man. Okay, well, I was quite sure that she was on Never Lose Truth 5 when I was posting these lives, but I've not seen her for quite a while now, and I am concerned. There were a couple of times when she was talking that she was not feeling well. Others that I've not noticed since I lost my channel. But Sandra, if you're watching, could you just drop a line in the chat? Let us know that you're okay or not okay. Look how defined this is. This is not natural. Mother Nature did not make this North Carolina, South Carolina. Yeah, shooting off the frequencies. Georgia, Alabama. All right, well, it's not stopping. And look at this whole lineup of the little blips of thunderstorms from West Virginia into Virginia, Kentucky, you're getting it, and New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, upstate. All right, well, what do we have? Okay. We've got 28 active severe weather warnings for Arizona, Georgia, Maryland, North Carolina, Nebraska, New York, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, South Dakota, Texas, Utah, Virginia, Vermont, West Virginia, Wyoming. I missed Wyoming. Okay. Well, okay. Maybe you have some severe weather coming at a later date. 28, okay? We've got tornado warnings in the Northeast. Oh man, slap me, wake me up. We ain't living. We've been transported into this nightmare that we can't seem to wake up from. All right, look at your counties. I did post the link. Delaware County in New York, tornado warning. I don't know. New York, Saratoga, tornado warning. Washington County in New York, tornado warning. And Ulster County in New York, tornado warning. Highly unusual, but they can bring tornadoes anywhere they want, like France. This is really, it is overwhelming. Just the weather itself, the weather being used as a weapon every single day. It's all over the place. Montana, you have portions of western and central Montana. Severe potential, watch possible thunderstorms. Damaging wind, of course. Okay, well, that's pretty much the same for New Mexico and Colorado. Into that little area, northeast Wyoming, Utah, Idaho. This is where I was in Idaho. Northern Utah, southeast Idaho. Isolated severe wind gusts. But I don't see any thunderstorms or rain. Okay. Well, in New York, be careful. Be careful. I don't know what to say. Just be careful. I just received this from a subscriber. Okay, since I've been off Never Lose Truth, there are so many channels that I've subscribed to on Never Lose Truth, but Never Lose Truth 5 I haven't subscribed to, and my brain doesn't really remember much these days, so I couldn't even think of all of the channel names that I am not subscribed to here. So thank you for sending this to me. Into Thin Air, frequencies. Do you see the frequencies? You see that semicircle right here? That is oh so perfectly defined. You see the serrated edges, and he'll show you more. always liked his intro. Okay, very obvious, right there. The sawtooth frequency, which that's the serrated edges of the frequencies and creating an awful lot of destructive weather. So I will post the link just in case if you don't know about Into Thin Air, check them out, subscribe. And we have Tropical Storm Dolly forms in the Atlantic. The Dolly is a coincidence to Dolly dying. Dolly was the name that was next in line to be named for this tropical storm. And it seems like it's going to be okay, but we never know what they're going to be doing to it, right? Tropical in the Atlantic, purely coincidental, the name, and small window of opportunity to strengthen. I like that. The system is forecast to weaken into an open trough or back into a tropical wave just before reaching the northeastern Caribbean over the weekend. Best case scenario for the northeastern Caribbean, including Puerto Rico, where extreme drought conditions continue, and there's still so many on the island of Puerto Rico don't have water. Really, running water. Last I checked, they didn't have it. I need to check again, but yeah, okay, this is El Nino. Everybody's talking about El Nino now. So the drought, we know they can create the drought, they can create the floods, and they just stick a name or, a term to these weather events, and then you got everybody believing it's El Nino. That's it. That's all you need. Okay. Nepal, Tibet, off the charts. I mean, this is really bad. I think the number that I saw last was 353 dead. And boy, that number is just going to really increase. And 1,300 missing. This is okay. You're looking at a building that's mighty strong. Okay. Look at all the people trying to figure out where the hell to go, and there was nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. It's a holy shit. Oh my God. Oof. Another one. Okay. My God. Wow.
The height where we are assuming that ice was broken is about 5,200 meters from the sea level, and then the vertical drop of almost 1,200 meters, and then again the ice might have melted during that drop, and then again it carried several amounts of tons of sediments in that low parts, and then again there was another vertical drops all the way to the rivers, which was about at 3,000 meters. So these very high impact, very high speed have caused the melting of the broken ice, and then also carried out the lots of sediments along the way.
The broken ice, the melting of the ice, that's another thing that they can do with the technology with black carbon dust, which they can just drop it on ice and the ice begins to melt. Frequencies can slice an ice glacier. whole village.
Oh shit! Ui nè, quy mía. Oh shit. Wo sogar ich habe die Musik her.
So
and pushed it out the front, kind of almost like a syringe pushing or plunging it out in front. So you get this kind of all the water that's there being shoved out front, but at the same time is melting the ice and collecting other water and things. So you get this really hyper concentrated flow of what's kind of like concrete.
okay, I will post the video, the link to the video if you want to watch more. But everything that is happening, it can be created by the weather terrorists with this fabulous technology that they have. In fact, I think it was, when was that hearing in the 70s? 1973? Senator Pell had a hearing, congressional hearing, on the weather modification that the U.S. military was doing in Vietnam. And one of the questions Senator Pell asked of some military general or something, you're not doing anything crazy like melting the ice caps? You're not doing anything crazy like creating earthquakes? No, sir. No, sir. If anybody thinks that our military gave up these weapons that were so successfully used in Vietnam, you're crazy. Now, I want to thank my subscriber for alerting me to this article, but unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to read it, but I will post the link. And this was posted this year, June 10. The next AI success story might be Nepal. Market-friendly ruling party, abundant energy, and ample talent to jumpstart new tech hub in the Himalayas. Wow. Okay, nothing like destroying beauty. Yeah, 2025, Nepal exported more than 1 billion in IT services for the first time, more than double the amount it had exported only 3 years ago. But now they're real chummy with the IT people. Don't bring this there. 65 Americans are missing. Okay, this is where people go, like spiritual retreats and for that amazing beauty. AI data centers. Yeah, perfect place. Not. Unexpected. Tarrant County storm severely damaged equestrian center. This was in Texas last night. Commercial structures, businesses, homes, commercial buildings. Apparently it was microbursts or downbursts, or I don't know, guys. I'm tired of this, just seeing all of this destruction. That's what's on top. Is that just the ground in Texas? I don't know, but okay. Or I don't know what that is. A roof with a tree. Very familiar sight. I wish I had Sandra's telephone number. All right. Yeah. One horse gashed by flying debris. Well, here we go.
At 10 o'clock, a possible downburst over parts of the Metroplex. We had hail, we had strong winds, we had fast, heavy rain in Tarrant County specifically, left a few thousand without power. And tonight, our crew's capturing this partial roof collapse. This is in Watauga. Marvin Hurst, in fact, is there tonight with a first-hand look at the damage that seemingly came out of nowhere tonight, Marvin.
Seemingly came out of nowhere. That's why I keep saying you check the weather before you go to bed.
It did, Doug, and boy, did it pack a punch. I want to show you some of the damage and talk about it. We are in the parking lot of Monty Osmond's Monty's Automotive. He says that he was right over there. You see where that car is, right over there, parked near that car in his truck. And he says that his truck started rocking. Just listen at what he heard inside of his truck. You can hear some of that hail. They are coming inside of the truck. He says he was parked inside of his truck there when the storm started blowing through. Osmond says as his truck rocked as the wind came through. So next door to him at Decra, there was a person who was having a completely different storm experience of their own. Things got so bad that Jason Harborough said that he had to jump into a carpet for his own safety from the storm.
The wind was actually louder than the crash. And next thing I know, I'm seeing the whole wall collapse. And my first instinct was, I need to go into the pit before I die.
I believe his name is Jason Harbaugh. Excuse me, Mr. Harbaugh there. Not far from here on Oaklawn, which is not far from where we're standing here. There's a neighborhood that's not far from here. Trees falling down all over everywhere into yards and on homes and even on vehicles. Now we're told that there was one injury that happened back here at this Decra building.
Seemingly came out of nowhere. Wind, hail damage reported in parts of Arkansas last night. And well, more storms to come, isolated showers and thunderstorms across portions of Arkansas Thursday afternoon. Oh, they just keep it rolling on in. Storms left over 25,000 homes across the state without power Wednesday night. And by Thursday morning, there were still 4,500 without power. Okay, the trees come in Pulaski County. Wow. Okay, trees coming down on homes, on cars, power outages. That's a given with an awful lot of the thunderstorms now. It really is. You can count on it. And look at Bulgaria. Mudslide washes away town in Bulgaria and in Spain. Barcelona is on fire.
След проливния дъжд, река Шашка прелива и отнася струмяни. Вижте този автомобил как е влезъл в гаража. Трагично е положението в комплекс Карелия в Струмяни. Виждате тук както в двора, така и вътре в сградата е пълно. Борове е носила реката чак
That's a tremendous amount of destruction. And yes, this is Barcelona. Okay. Well, between the fires and the flooding and the mudslides and the landslides and it's going to be very little left of this once beautiful earth. Residential buildings are imposing restrictions on residents. Okay. Look at this. Wow, this is close to residential areas. Well, how about another hit for, well, wait on it. Come on. It's supposed to be Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia got hit with tremendous flooding. Here. I think this needs to be questioned. I do. I said throughout the years, I said, so climate change is bringing massive flooding to Saudi Arabia, a desert? Really? Don't you think it needs to be good? How many times have I said that? I can't tell you. A lot. Japan again.
Off entire municipalities from the national transportation grid. As of Thursday afternoon, local authorities have issued mandatory evacuation orders for approximately 180,000 residents across 5 core municipalities in Ishikawa and Toyama prefectures. The hardest hit areas include Hakui City, Shika Town, Hodatsu Shimizu Town, Nakanoto Town, and Himi City. The crisis is intensely compounded by a dark historical reality. Much of the affected terrain lies within the Noto Peninsula and its immediate periphery. The exact geographic footprint, heavily fractured and structurally destabilized by the catastrophic 7.6 magnitude earthquake on January 1st, 2024. With topsoil already loosened, mountain slopes cracked, and regional drainage basins compromised by past seismic shifts, the extraordinary rainfall has accelerated geomorphic failures. Entire hillsides are collapsing onto roads, houses, and rivers, creating a dynamic multi-hazard emergency that has overwhelmed local first responders.
Do you know how many people all over the world are either living in hotels, in shelters, being evacuated? I've never seen anything quite like it in all the years that I've been doing this. 2026 has been really a wow. But wow, for 2027, look, they've got 3 years before 2030. They have a deadline, and they are bringing about so much destruction. I don't know what to say about it, but how about our cousin's home, Birmingham, in the UK?
The sheer force of the floods broke down a garage door and swept away possessions. This was Great Barr last night. The water submerged roads, car parks and gardens, and probably worst of all, overflowed homes inside, damaging whatever was in its way. These flash floods were flash. Monica Tonecci had to move quickly to try and save whatever she could. She worked through the night in her home on Haddon Road in Great Barr to salvage anything that stayed dry, but most did not.
When we came, it was horrible, it was disaster. The water, it was more than, let's say, a meter. It was a meter. It was so bad. The water basically was covering the sofa, was covering everything was on the floor. Wash machine doesn't work. Floor is damaged. Furniture is damaged. It's nothing left. Just us, 2 kids, and then our animals, and this is the mess what is left behind. The worst dream of my life. The worst.
Last night's heavy rain meant this pub in Perry Barr had to close early and will stay closed for now. Anand only opened it 5 weeks ago.
This area actually isn't open at the moment, but we're thinking of opening it this week. It's our soft play area, but as you can see, there's a lot of water damage here.
The electrics work, but it's down below where hidden damage will cost them thousands of pounds in repairs and unusable stock.
There is a stream that then takes away any excess, but I think the volume that came down yesterday with such a dry spell, things are blocked. There's not a way for the water to run away because the ground's just so hard.
So there's the beaches, there's the brook. It's all flowing down towards the church into our gardens.
Well, you were warned that you would be getting flooding, and I didn't think it was going to come so soon, but here it is. Birmingham. And look at your streets. Wow. Look at all of the cobblestones.
I was behind the bar and just felt this really big rumble under the floor and heard a really loud noise, and we thought it was the thunder from a storm, but it was actually the road lifting and all the bricks coming up and the manhole exploding. So then we've just had water and sewerage just piling all down the road everywhere.
Sewage?
Well, it has caused a lot of problems, but for some, the downpour came not a moment too soon.
The farmers. So, yeah. All right. Wind shift could push flames toward Possum Kingdom area. This is the Ross Fire in Texas.
And since we've learned that firefighters caught a break with some humidity overnight, but today they are watching another challenge. Fire officials say a shift in the wind could push flames and smoke toward the Possum Kingdom area, so crews are moving resources into position now. But right now, I do want to show you a live look over the area from the sky, capturing some of the damage. You can see how scorched the ground is. We've also learned from Texas A&M Forest Service that crews continue working along some of the most active sections of the fire using bulldozers, engines, and aircraft to strengthen containment lines. But it is just tragic to see how much damage has happened, especially to some businesses in that area that have been there for a very long time. Now, officials say their goal is to keep the fire inside of its current footprint as conditions change throughout the day today. Grayford remains near some of the hardest hit areas. Beyond the roadblocks are homes, ranches, and businesses that have been damaged or destroyed by the fire. One family telling us their canoe business along the Brazos River, dating back to 1928, was lost in that fire. Meanwhile, ranchers are searching for missing livestock and counting dead animals, while volunteers continue caring for injured animals. And that shift in the wind is posing another concern today.
We're expecting a wind shift to come back out of the south to southeast, which will cause more activity on the west side and potentially see more smoke and more fire moving west towards Possum Kingdom. We're moving resources. We have additional resources moved over there where they are working to put in additional dozer lines, holding features, and we have additional engines in the area to make sure that if fire comes into communities, we have engines ready. Ideally, we're going to keep it out of there on the right side of Highway 16 before it
And the peak of the heat wave is here. Record-breaking scorching heat is blanketing Southern California for yet another day.
The high temperatures are sticking around through the week, raising the risk of heat-related illness and wildfires. And the prolonged heat is being made even more dangerous by power outages, leaving thousands of families and businesses without relief.
We have team coverage tonight. KTLA's Rachel Menitoff is live in Echo Park, where residents are still dealing with outages. But first, let's begin with meteorologist Vera Jimenez. Vera, we're all looking for some relief.
Soon, I want to say, but even when it cools down, temperatures are still going to be on the warm side, and that's heading into the weekend. Here's a live look at the skyline where you can't tell how hot it is, but trust me, folks, it is still incredibly hot. You've seen this map over and over and over again. You're going to continue to see it as we move through Friday. That is when both the heat advisory and the extreme heat warning do expire. We saw lots of record temperatures today. The final numbers came out earlier this evening.
118 Palm Springs, 111 Midland Hills, 107 Lancaster. Is that Lancaster? Wow. It's hot. Well, power goes off. Okay. Stephanie Green, I've had tinnitus for years, a whole lot of years. And it was Great Barrington, Massachusetts, when I noticed that something was off, the buzzing, and it's nonstop. Sometimes I get sharp, tones, sometimes sharp pain. But yeah, especially when they geoengineer, especially when they bring about these severe weather events, they use a lot of frequencies with these thunderstorms. So yes, absolutely. And farmers hope new steam technology will eliminate use of pesticides. The farmers don't want to use pesticides. You do know, I've played on lives, but that it has been recommended that farmers, right before harvest, spray more glyphosate on their crops and then pick it. Then pick all of those, get them to their shelves in the supermarkets when the glyphosate has not, you may as well just spray glyphosate into your mouth.
Harvest season is in full swing for crops planted across the Golden State. That means fresh, local produce is getting ready to hit store shelves. But some say those fruits and vegetables can also come with a hidden price.
For years, farm workers have claimed contact with pesticides used in the process has left them battling cancer, neurological disorders, and other ailments. Now, a new technology aims to weed out those pesticides by turning them into steam. NBC Bears Damon Trujillo gives us a closer look.
They're going to turn the pesticide into steam. All right, that's interesting.
As a child, I remember working in the field, and in an adjacent field, I was downwind from it. They were spraying pesticides. I can still smell it today. The question now is, are those days numbered?
The music you're hearing is meant to make the day feel a little lighter. As farm workers harvest the California fruits and vegetables that will help feed the nation. But in a field not far from Shinta Kawahara Farms in Watsonville, you can find the ominous signs that have plagued farm workers for decades, the threat of pesticides.
We encourage farm workers to change their clothes before they enter their house.
to lower the risk of exposing their family members to pesticides, to the residue that is left on their shoes or their clothes from working in the field.
The national advocacy group Farm Worker Justice has been fighting the use of toxic pesticides on crops for years. The EPA estimates that roughly 10 to 20,000 farm workers suffer from acute pesticide poisonings every year.
Yeah, and then go. Okay. Gracias.
But Shinta Kawahara Farms believes they found a better way. You see, this is an organic farm and now a test lab of sorts.
So you're kind of like their guinea pig then?
I'm a guinea pig.
Rod Koda is talking about testing new technology that uses high pressure steam instead of toxic fumigants to prep the soil before a plant or seed goes into the ground. His farm was one of the first in the nation to begin testing the steam technology and believes it's working.
I don't have the plant mortality, and yeah, the fruit would be bigger because its plant's not so stressed, root stress.
The company behind the new tech is called High Degree, and you can see the difference in the field Koda is letting the researchers use.
Your test area right here.
This is my test area. This is a steam applied, single pass, pretty healthy. Plant mortality is next to nothing. And this is what they're calling a control, which is no steam.
Researchers say the steam serves as a herbicide and reduces plant disease by 70%, killing the soil pests. The Strawberry Commission is on board, as is the Ag Commissioner in Santa Cruz County.
It's very early on in these field trials, but you know the work that's been done so far has been pretty promising, and it shows a lot of potential. It needs research, it needs work. They're aiming.
And do you think that our fabulous U.S. government, even the EPA, will allow steam as opposed to those pesticides? The chemical companies need to be protected. They need their profits. Livingston Parish residents say new homes on higher ground. I cannot tell you how many news broadcasts I have seen and also have included in live streams with, construction, these new homes that are being built, and the homes that have been there, suddenly they get flooded out because of the new construction. Here's another area.
New tonight, people who live behind the Hunters Ridge subdivision in Livingston Parish say they're concerned, especially when there is a storm like we had today.
They showed News 2's Joe Collins the situation. Michael, Sylvia, Denham Springs resident James Grace says that he has lived along Joe May Road for the last 8 years, and his yard rarely floods. That was until houses started to go up right near his barn. Denham Springs resident James Grace has this farm along Joe May Road. He has horses, donkeys, and more. He says the land behind his property used to be flat farmland.
Just our nice little nest out in the country is what it was supposed to be. But here lately it's become neighborhood city. The neighborhood's popping up all along Joe May.
He says he's not against homes being built, but he and his neighbors have concerns about how they're being built.
I never, in my wildest dreams, imagined me looking out here from the arena and seeing homes 4 feet above me.
This video he took from several months ago shows how less than an hour of rain flooded his yard. Then in April, another heavy rain brought high water onto his property.
Property did get about 6 inches in 2016, but this whole area flooded. It hadn't had any significant amounts of water since then. But every time it rains 2-3 inches in an hour, this whole back area is covered in water.
He's notified the parish about his problem and says even they have acknowledged it's not a good situation.
My councilman, John Mangus, has done a fantastic job working with me. He's helped get the ball rolling on getting ditches cleaned out.
But as far as the slant and ditch behind his yard, he says he's been forced to make his own little barrier of grass and roots to hold the water back. I showed Parish President Randy DeLatte a post Grace made about the problem. He tells me houses usually have to be built that high.
I know that's a requirement in building new homes on the height, and that's a FEMA requirement. If you don't do that, then if you have a disaster, you cannot receive FEMA money.
The area along Joe May Road has been prone to flooding. I asked if the parish is looking into any way to help out the residents there.
We actually did a master drainage plan, so we don't have to say that Joe May Road is more important than the next road. And the reason is when you remove water from one area, you got to put it in another area. So if you compound that mistake, then you're not doing anybody a service.
Grace says, this is insane, insane. So our FEMA says you've got to build these new homes up from homes that are right existing, very, very close, abutting the property, and they get flooded out. That doesn't sound very fair. So in Florida, Tampa Bay area, 200 tenants displaced. No alarm. Wow. Another fire.
Last Thursday in Pasco County are demanding answers as to why their fire alarms didn't go off. Whoops. Dozens of people escaped after neighbors, maintenance workers, and firefighters went door to door alerting them.
That is how they learned that a fire had started in one of the buildings of the Cobalt apartment complex. Our Fox 13's Evan Axelbank reports tonight from Wesley Chapel.
Residents here want answers as to why no fire alarms went off during the most dangerous moment that most will ever experience. This is video from second floor resident Kiara Gaskin, who was out at work when the lightning bolt struck the attic of her building on Thursday afternoon. The video shows her dogs panicking, aware that something was wrong. Firefighters reviewed video from Ring doorbells that show workers and neighbors going door to door, letting everybody know that a fire had started. As best they can tell, no fire alarms went off, nor did sprinklers stop the blaze. Pasco firefighters believe the building was up to code, but say the systems didn't work because the fires were in the attic and above where they could be detected or automatically extinguished. Numerous residents in the 90-unit building lost everything, with 200 displaced. The building is not safe for any residents to return to as of yet.
How many apartment complexes have we seen displacing so many of the tenants? Where is everybody going? Now, I'm going to post the link to this. It's, so Gary, Indiana. The data centers received electricity while the residents didn't. Data centers got power. Gary, Indiana went dark. Oops. Well, that's the way things are going to be going now. You know, the important people will get the power. And everybody else, well, you just wait.
Our NIPSCO bills within the last year have not only doubled, but tripled. And what we saw in our surrounding communities were when, I attended the NIPSCO protest, I saw they were able to get out and, get direct answers to the neighboring cities that are predominantly white, that have these high median household incomes. The average median household income here is only $40,000 a year for a two-family home. So these other locations were given a rebate where they apologized and said, hey, we had an issue with our automated meters. They switched everyone's meters to be automatic now, meaning they can shut your power off directly from the NIPSCO location. They don't have to come out and hit a switch. And once they installed these smart meters, they started hiking up our bills. So everyone in the surrounding areas were able to get a rebate, a credit on their bill that was a lot. And they told Gary, well, there's nothing wrong with your meters. Your prices are high because we had an increase that we had to do. Now, this increase was a result of our neighboring cities getting these infrastructure deals for data centers and these tax breaks, which left, for what NIPSCO says, a big issue with this residual money that we have to pay. So they passed that off to consumers, just like with tariffs. And we saw how that impacted the same thing, but Gary was given the big bill.
Gary, Indiana has kind of come into national headlines and even some international headlines because it was without power for nearly 2 weeks. And this started on August 11th when 100-mile-per-hour winds pummeled Northwest Indiana, knocking out power to more than 370,000 customers of NIPSCO, the regional for-profit electrical utility. NIPSCO had said that Gary would be the last municipality to have service restored and has promised that it will be fully restored by tonight, August 25th, which is 2 weeks after this storm. The power outage has disrupted all aspects of life across the region and in Gary. Viewers may remember what we reported on last week with regards to the rolling blackouts in Cuba. Having no power means, that people are unable to store food. It means that school has to be canceled. There's been no clear date for when campuses will be reopened. It also means no running water for households and no safe backups, for example, people who rely on breathing machines. Cell phone coverage and internet connectivity are also impacted because, you guessed it, the cell towers are also affected by the power outages. So amidst all of this, it is very important to point out that Gary, the town that has been without power for the longest, is a majority Black city. 76% of residents are Black, and over 33% of the population lives below the poverty line. The city is no stranger to neglect from state and corporate leaders. So to discuss this crisis and what else is actually behind it, we are joined by Aja Bridges, an independent journalist from Gary, Indiana. Aja, thank you so much for joining us here at BT Live.
And it's well worth a listen. So the link is in the chat. And I think a lot of people, when they hear, that a city that is a majority of minorities, a whole lot, but they're just treated like shit, and who cares? And but it's a real thing. Okay, Memphis now is dealing with the power outages. Memphis is also a majority city. That doesn't mean that other areas don't suffer power outages for long periods of time. But when you see that an awful lot of the areas are getting data centers, and other areas, whether white or Black, if they're affluent areas, they usually get that electricity. And if they're poor areas, you can wait. We're busy, So, when you have power outages for 2 weeks, think about the elderly, This was massive in Indiana, all over Indiana. 2 weeks without power, a lot of elderly living in Gary and also other areas. How is it that nobody's dying? I want to know how it is that nobody is dying. So I know that listening to somebody else from Gary, and he was talking about how, virtually everybody in Gary is helping one another. He said, and showed how dark it is at night. People can't, lock their garages or, other things. And there's no looting, there's no crime. Everybody is just helping one another out. I love hearing it, but it's not just Gary, other areas. And, that has been a thought of mine looking at all of this destruction. Don't you think people are dying? Now, Dogman, I will post the link to Dogman's video here. What is he talking about? He's talking about having lived in this area for such a long time, and why are the trees, they're not even turning. They're dying. It goes from life to death. You see all the brown trees?
But something is off this year, and I went to Fort Smith yesterday, and it's even worse. The more when you look in the mountains and everything, I've never seen this.
And Fort Smith, My guess is he's Arkansas. On Nextdoor, you know, that app, people were writing about their trees dying, their fruit trees that were doing really well up until about 2 weeks ago, and suddenly they're dead. Something's going on.
In what, third week of August? Look at these oak trees. And it hasn't been, you know, I've been through hotter summers and never seen this. But they're already dropping their leaves. And these are usually the last trees to lose their leaves. And it ain't just the oaks. There are many different species. It hasn't been that hot. I mean, well, yes, we've had a couple of weeks 100-degree temperatures, but that's nothing unusual here. And we've had like 28 inches of rain this year. So, I mean, we're getting a little rain. So what's going on?
Well, yeah. You know, yesterday I walked outside and I couldn't really tell what it was, but I thought, you know, because I'm on the corner and sometimes I'll go out and I'll see, you know, people just throw trash or whatever, or it's blowing in the wind. But there were all these yellow things, you know, and I thought, I didn't know what it was. I walked over. It was leaves and they're already falling. And I'm like, it's a little early, don't you think?
And I look up there on the mountain, I can start seeing the oaks. There's not a lot of oaks. It's usually pine and cedar, but I see that a lot of this is turning brown. That big tree there totally died weeks ago. You guys remember me talking about it, but look how huge that is.
Okay, well, look at what they're spraying. Look at what they're spraying. Look at what they're doing to the environment. And this is amazing. Okay, where is this? Oh, I can't remember. I want to say Vermont, but I might be wrong. Family told no hiking in their own backyard. Okay.
This is Charles and Ellie Copley, and this is their property in Roxbury, Connecticut. For a small hourly fee, Charles and Ellie welcomed hikers and dog walkers to use their property's trails. But that ended last year when local zoning officials sent the Copleys a possible notice of violation.
I never imagined that what we were doing could be a problem. It doesn't impact anybody in any way, and it's only beneficial to the forest.
They never told us this is the rule that it's breaking or this is what is not okay about it.
We have 50 acres of property, so it seems crazy that you can't allow people to walk on 50 acres of property.
Local officials haven't explained to the Copleys what law or ordinance they're violating. A town shouldn't be able to make up ordinances that aren't there to prevent someone from using their own property in a way that's harmless, peaceful, and consistent with the surrounding area.
I have recommended Roxbury's Institute for Justice numerous times. I still do. The link is in the chat. Okay, it's his property, but he's being told that he can't use it for hiking. It's his property.
It's located in a region of Connecticut called Litchfield Hills, an area known for its rural scenery and hiking. There are plenty of public trails, but Charles and Ellie recognize that private trails are preferable for some people, like solo hikers or parents with neurodivergent kids.
I really like the idea of other people having a chance to use our land, that it's not just us who are lucky enough to have these acres. And of course, we've learned in making it available all the different reasons that other people have. People being afraid of dogs, bird watchers who want it to be quiet.
Some people are scared of going into the forest because they're scared of bumping into somebody that they don't know. Other people feel overwhelmed when they bump into groups of people. So I think there are many ways in which that benefits the community generally. We've always been very careful to be very respectful of our neighbors. We've not had any complaints. Everybody knows what we were doing. And we've done that by keeping all of this activity far away from the neighbors because we have 50 acres of property.
The Copleys even worked with the Natural Resources Conservation Service to develop a forest management plan of the property. Part of that plan depends on regular foot traffic to be able to keep aggressive low-growth vegetation at bay.
We were especially surprised to get the notice of possible violation because the town's Wetlands Committee had actually reviewed the entire forest management plan, which specifically states hiking. So they had reviewed that, seemed to understand that, and had approved it.
There are no town ordinances explicitly prohibiting anyone from using their land for paid private hiking. In fact, the town ordinances permit agricultural uses such as forestry and conservation, which the Copleys referenced repeatedly in their forest management plan.
I'm
just so tired of these control freaks. But Stephanie Green writes, zoning lady yelled at me because we had mallard ducks in our yard. Like that was my decision. Yelling at you because you had ducks in your yard. This is why people, and it's not that they're just choosing isolation, it's that they're tired of dealing with people because people just don't quite know how to behave anymore. And, you know, the control freaks are out, you know, the rude people are out, the crazy people are out, the violent people are out. This is not good for any of us. Not good for any of us. Now, I want to thank my subscriber for sending this along. You all know, but it's good to, I don't know, be reminded, perhaps. Yeah.
What I'm talking about and others are talking about their 2030 agenda and how they're going to have a programmable digital currency if they're allowed to do it and control every aspect of your behavior. For those of you that still doubt that and want to stay asleep and pretend it's not happening, that oncoming freight train is not about to run your life completely over, watch this.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors. Citizens will be on their best behavior, because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on. Penalize, fine people who don't have the appropriate behaviors.
And we're going to need to change behaviors.
And short-sighted behaviors that undermine collective progress.
They're not even hiding it anymore. They're putting it right in your face. They're not kidding. If you don't believe they're trying to achieve what they're speaking of in their speeches and in their private sessions, you're going to regret. I know you've got a gut instinct going on telling you something's happening. Something not right is heading our way and it's speeding up. So you better start listening. You better start taking action before it's too late. 2030 is the cutoff date when they're trying to achieve all this. You think it's crazy right now? Wait till next year. Wait till the year after. Start preparing now. Get your money out of the markets. Get your money out of the banks. Get into gold and silver. Get into distressed assets, because there's going to be a boatload more during the next 3.5 years than at any other time on this planet of distressed situations where people are going to need your help. Educate yourself on how this stuff works. Pull your participation and your money out of the rigged system that they're using to pay to enslave you, and learn how to build your own tribe and community. Sign up for our collapse calls. Meet, greet, network, find your tribe. They're out there, I promise you. And they're looking for you too.
Absolutely. You know, if anybody thinks that anything's going to get better, you're clearly somebody who, I don't know, lives on opium. Anybody thinks that things are not going to get worse, I'm sorry to say that you're a bit delusional. The next 3 years, for anybody who's going to survive them, all right, well, get ready, because every aspect of life is just going to be turned on its head. And, you know, this flock, all right, the CEO is like a child who lies repeatedly. But these flock hammers are really doing a number on people who are completely and utterly innocent.
The backlash has been incredible. Small cities and towns across America have had enough with Flock. And protests like this are forcing politicians to reverse course and cancel contracts with a company that uses AI technology to track ordinary Americans and then make that available to the police. This is the summer of Flock anger. Senator Josh Hawley, perhaps a lagging indicator, is now on board, launching a Senate investigation into Flock, what the cameras know and what they do not. Outside of using Flock cameras to track their exes, which has happened, at least as far as we can tell, dozens of times, police officers also treat this automated data feed as definitive truth. And innocent people are paying a devastating price. Take the case of 23-year-old Lindsay Isaacs. If you haven't heard of this, it's going to make you very angry.
And it did me. Nobody should have to go through what this woman went through. No one. Ay, 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 ay.
We were the first national news outlet to cover her story last week. Here she is in court. After a fatal hit and run in Florida, investigators locked into a single Flock camera ping that placed her black Dodge Durango 3 miles from the scene around the time of the crash. Despite eyewitnesses pointing to a maroon Durango, a different colored car, and her own car showing 0 signs of impact damage, police arrested her. She spent 13 days in jail until finally police arrested another driver, Elisa Montalvo, the owner of, you guessed it, a damaged maroon Durango. That is obviously small comfort for Isaacs. She paid the price for a mistake made by cops, and cops who misused this tool that they are supposed to say has so many safeguards. And she now joins us along with her attorney, Patrick McGeehan. Lindsay, thank you for being here. I know you were able to watch what we just showed. Is you see yourself in that orange jumpsuit in court, knowing that you have been charged with a serious crime and were innocent. How do you feel now watching that?
I feel so emotional looking at those pictures. It was a nightmare that I was living. And to see it where I'm sitting right now, I'm safe next to my attorney, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Patrick, help us understand, because your lawsuit is against the Florida Highway Patrol, and one of the things you have written is defendants fabricated evidence of vehicle damage, swore to false statements in an affidavit for an arrest warrant and at a bond pre-trial detention hearing, and ignored readily available exculpatory evidence. How much of this is the fault of the cameras, and how much of this is the fault of police officers who decided they had evidence of some Dodge Durango, so that must be the one?
Well, we didn't sue the department. We sued the officers individually in this civil rights action. Oh, yeah, it's equally divisible. The Florida Highway Patrol did a terrible investigation. They had terrible investigators, and they used the technology and made technology terrible. So everything related to this was terribly used.
And we've seen over and over again with Flock rampant police misconduct. Obviously.
But a witness said that it was a maroon colored car. And that's not the color that of her car. They fabricated evidence. For what reason? Oh my God. So many innocent people. So many completely and utterly innocent people, get their lives, destroyed by the police. And Flock is known to be wrong a lot. And here, a Shively police officer arrested after Flock audit uncovers thousands of unauthorized searches.
A Shively police officer now faces charges for misusing Flock cameras.
As WDRB's Raina Katko tells us, investigators say this Shively police officer searched for his ex-wife's license plate thousands of times.
Shively Police says Officer Assad Zahir started misusing these flock cameras in January. They claim he searched for the mother of his child's cars 2,048 times.
That's disgusting.
It was a gut punch for me, personally.
Tracking a woman's movements across Kentucky and Indiana. That's what this Shively officer, Assad Zahir, is accused of. But police say she is not a suspect in any investigations.
I mean, and that could have been anybody that he chose to go after.
The department has not determined which flock cameras Zahir accessed and if any were outside the state. But Chief Andre Bottoms says a new AI auditing tool came out on Monday and notified them of Zahir's searches. His coworkers arrested him within 24 hours.
There are actual uses that the police can get out of it, and other agencies, as far as I understand. But when they do things like that, it just makes you wonder why they're even there anymore.
At this point, knowing our fabulous police and their behavior, you wouldn't want them to have access to any of this technology. Concentration camps, 2026. Okay, well, I think we all know that it's coming, but can we prove it definitively? Well, I wish we could.
I've got one that can see.
On today's update of what the fuck is going on in this country, the U.S. Navy just updated an existing contract.
Okay, so apparently this is proof that they're going to be building, some kind of camp for sure. Another channel that I need to subscribe to on Never Lose Truth 5. I've got one that can see. I'm going to put the link in. It's you might want to check them out. Subscribe. There you go. Okay. Updated an existing contract accepting
$55 billion from the Department of Homeland Security to fund concentration camps across this nation. The concentration camps in question are mostly centrally located, also very heavily on the East Coast and a little bit to the south as well. These concentration camps are tent cities, as they're described, that hold upwards of 10,000 people. The most sinister part about this entire thing is the fact that they're putting aside funds for biohazard incinerators. I'm going to say that one more time. Biohazard incinerators.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is that familiar? The DHS is anticipating high volumes of death. Do with this information what you will. Spread the word.
So here they are. I can't see through. I don't even know what's going on, but there's a lot of people here.
I don't know what that was from. I want to say Texas, but
Fox 13's Jennifer Vaitlis joins us live from the newsroom tonight.
They claim that there'll be detention centers for all of the migrants that are being picked up. Okay, well, you can think of yourself as a migrant, dissident migrant. People are capturing something that can't be explained across the United States. JWTV, okay. Very interesting. I've recommended his channel. I do again. The link is in the chat. And weird things are going on. Why isn't it
unusual sightings all across U.S., but this time they're thinking and watching and wondering, where is this headed?
So here's this side. And I'm still not touching it with my hand.
What is actually going on? We have passed how many so far, honey? Probably about 20?
More than that.
Cops are all over.
There's two!
But then, what people are seeing got stranger.
Outside for like 1 minute and they're flying.
They're everywhere.
They're all over me. Really strange. Don't know where they're from.
What is that? Spider or something to me. This. What the?
And some of what was captured, people don't even know how it got there. So strange things near homes, outdoors, and even at ground level starting to be noticed more.
It's really reflective, so I'm going to try not to reveal myself in the reflection. I'm going to show you all the markings. So here's this side. And I'm still not touching it with my hand because I think it is active or something. It's really smooth. Here's that hexagram. Which, yeah, I agree it doesn't look that good, but I can tell you I didn't make it.
But look closely at the
I don't know what it is.
surface. What are these markings on here? Can you see these different markings?
Like a triangle in the middle with two lines. I'll probably try to open it at some point, but I don't know how to do that right now.
What do you think this actually is? There's something brown appearing inside of this container. The guy then later.
Well, I wish I saw the whole video because I'd like to know where this guy discovered this. What might it be? It looks pretty big.
Anything going on with this thing?
What will he find?
Okay. The link is in the chat. Now, I am also very, very tired. Oh my God. Well, I can throw out an awful lot of descriptive words that come to mind when I see people who are treating animals quite not right, okay? The animal cruelty is off the charts as far as I'm concerned. But then you have people in neighborhoods that are trying, to help out the strays, the feral, and then you have the people who want to just destroy it all.
A cat rescue organization speaks out after they say several of their shelters were vandalized, leaving dozens of cats without a home. They say they're still working to repair the damage and find those missing cats. As Leah Mallory reports, it's not the first time this has happened.
Steve Drabe, the vice president of Hand to Paw Cat Rescue, says yesterday morning volunteers drove past this colony as part of their routine checkup, and just a little over an hour later, they returned to a shocking scene.
You can see the legs are broken off of it, the bottom's kicked out.
In a yard along Pullman Avenue, 26 cat houses sat as an intended safe haven for abandoned cats. But Drave says a ruthless attack by someone in the neighborhood left them with only 15 shelters and about a dozen unaccounted for animals.
This is their home. This is their safe spot. This is where they come to get food. They have feelings too, obviously. I mean, imagine how you feel if you came home one day and your house was totally destroyed. Your food was missing. You had no shelter to keep you dry at night. You had nowhere to sleep.
He says their colony has been attacked before, driven by a disdain for cats in the neighborhood.
So they feel that we are attracting cats to the area by providing these shelters and food for them, when actually we're keeping them out of other areas, such as their properties.
He says they have reached out to RPD and Lollipop Farm regarding attacks since their inception, but claims there has been little intervention from authorities.
Unfortunately, this is a nationwide problem. It's not just here in the city of Rochester.
However, he says he's grateful for the support of the community at this time and plans on getting cameras to improve safety.
Donations is how this is all funded. We can express our gratitude and appreciation for everyone in the community that supports not only us, but other organizations that are doing this.
Drave says they're working to replace 7 total houses and continue to ask for donations from the community. He says you can find more information on how to donate on their website or on their Facebook.
And I will post the link, and if any of you are in the area of Rochester, you might want to check them out. And, there's always somebody that just wants to get in there and destroy, what you are trying to do, certainly for the four-leggeds. And, oh man, I don't, it's just so, well, it's an awful lot of them. Now, this guy dumped all of these tires in a park, in a public park. This is in Pennsylvania. But then, well, he wasn't supposed to be dumping the tires in this park. Then he got stuck in mud. Trying to get out.
Well, check this out here. Hundreds of tires, hundreds cleaned up from Fairmount Park today. City officials say someone drove them in with a U-Haul to dump them. And then, in a stroke of instant karma, that truck got stuck in the mud. And Fox 29 was there as the city worked to remove them, as you can see from this video. Kelly city leaders say they will be pursuing the maximum fines in this case.
Good. Look, I don't know where hundreds of tires come from, but you're going to dump them in a park? Okay. Now, I'm just going to play a few minutes of this 2-hour classic dog videos because you know what? You just need it, right? We all need it. We all need it. I need it. And in fact, I don't know, 15 minutes before going live, this is all I could look at.
Vamos.
Can you get off the cat, please?
Get it.
Potty time? Okay, go.
Oh.
There she goes. She's dead.
Who's your big brother?
Come.
Please, you
guys so hard to leave here, but like I'm so excited.
Let go. Wait! Let go.
No.
Hi, Ella. Hi, Ella. Oh.
Sis says she got her plate. She's ready. She's Thanksgiving ready. Where my food at?
Hey, what do you have? Is that a shoe and a purse?
All right. The link is in the chat again. And there are some quite funny little clips in there. Now, it's 6:58. Man, oh man, oh man, man, oh man, oh man. This is the King's Guard. Now, can you figure out who that was a tribute to? Rape pandemic grips Britain. Okay. No one in their right mind would put out these, flyers or pamphlets. They want people to be really angry, very angry in the UK.
Well, the UK government has come up with a foolproof way to stop illegal migrants attacking local women. They've printed pamphlets explaining to illegal migrants that in England, rape is wrong. I especially like the part where it says that if you commit rape, you could go to jail, and that will affect your asylum claim, which means it'll probably take them 6 months to work out they can't deport you for rape because it might exacerbate your ADHD. The good news, however, is that I expect these pamphlets will all but eliminate sex crimes in the UK now that asylum seekers know rape is bad.
This is so flippin' insane that, nobody in their right mind would do this unless they had an agenda. And what is the agenda? To get people really pissed off. Okay. And we're going to see so much insanity in the next 3 years. And here, okay, another murder-suicide. Daughters found parents after school. Hey, Mom, I'm home.
A Las Vegas mother is dead in what police are calling a murder-suicide that happened near Nelson, Tropicana. Her 2 daughters came home from school and found their parents.
News 3's Sarah Smith is now live tonight to explain the trauma that children can face after such a violent loss like this. Sarah?
Do you really need to explain the trauma? I would think that most, everybody would get that, whoa, yeah, trauma. That will stay with them for the rest of their life. And murder, suicide, both parents dead. Okay. And in here, another one, California community, murder, suicide.
A Tulare community is shaken this evening after a domestic violence incident ends in tragedy. And tonight, the sheriff's office confirms a man and woman are dead following a murder-suicide Thursday afternoon.
I don't know what to say. I just hate seeing things like this happen in our neighborhood.
And thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Jason Oliveira in for Warren Armstrong.
And good evening, I'm Margot Kim. We're live on ABC 30, Disney Plus, and wherever you stream. Action News has also learned a child witnessed that deadly shooting. Anchor Christina Lopez joins us live from outside the Tulare County Sheriff's Office headquarters in Visalia, where an investigation is currently underway. Christina?
Just showing you that it's pretty much every day. The link is in the chat if you want to, listen to the remainder of the video. We're going to see more and more and more of this. For the children who are left without any parents, okay, that is, well, a whole lot kill the children as well. This is not good, okay? And it's not going to stop. Okay, I'm going to play a few minutes of this. A whole lot of people will say, you've been talking about the economy, that it's going to collapse. You've been doing it for decades, and whether it's, it doesn't matter who, that the economy has been collapsing. It just hasn't collapsed for you. Millions upon millions upon millions and more go off the financial cliff every single day. That shit hits the fan has hit for millions of people. And millions more coming up. The entire house of cards is about to fall. Just a few minutes, but I think let me put the link in. I have recommended George Gammon before, and I do again. And we are looking at something unprecedented, and I hope everybody is ready for it.
The U.S. Treasury just went into crisis mode, saying they might actually have to tap into their TGA account in order to prevent an economic disaster.
The Treasury could use its near $1 trillion general account to help fund its recently announced plans to increase purchases of government bonds.
I'm going to explain exactly what's going on, why it's a big deal, and how you can protect yourself in 3 simple, fast steps. Step number 1, let's go over this act of...
Okay, so I'll post the link again. You can watch it, but we all know it's coming down, and it's not stopping. So... And here, Trump, man, oh God, Trump's oil and gas stock trades continue during Iran war. Okay. I can't believe crickets, man. I'm so tired of listening to the crickets. As the Iran war continued, paused for a ceasefire and then restarted, Trump purchased and sold oil and gas stocks worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, making millions. Yeah. Okay. And what? He's making a fortune while destroying so many Americans, their finances, destroying the economy. He's making millions. We know it. And apparently we are allowing it. Trump signs order renaming Lake Ontario as Lake America. I thought, surely he's not going to do this. He was considering it yesterday. Now he signs this order. Okay, Canadians, I don't know. blast the crap out of your voices. No one should call this Lake America. But this is Trump. He loves to instigate. He loves to cause anger. This is so typical of malignant narcissists. Yes, I've listened to Michael Yon quite a lot. But are you flipping kidding me? Well, it's all about, you got Britain putting out, rape is not good. We just, he wants to tear down the Kennedy Center, renaming Gulf of Mexico, which I will never call it Gulf of America, renaming federal agencies, Department of War. Well, a whole lot still refer to it as the Department of Defense. And yeah. All right. Well, nobody should listen. Nobody should rewrite their maps at all. And even students, man, these homes, Marshall University, these homes were condemned, structurally uninhabitable. And where do the students go?
Hey, Marilee. Today we learned that the 6 homes ordered to be vacated are all owned by the same company, Universal Holdings, LLC. The owner of that company, Dennis Johnson, was here on site today with the city fire marshal walking those properties, but he declined to comment. Here's a look at some of those properties affected: 3 non-Greek affiliated homes and 3 fraternities, Sigma Alpha Epsilon, Kappa Sigma, and Alpha Sigma Phi. According to West Virginia Property Assessment, Universal Holdings owns over 50 properties in Cabell County. The chapter president of SAE says if you would have told him this would have happened 48 hours ago, he wouldn't have believed you.
So we're kind of switching the mindset right now from thrive to survive. It's been hard. It was definitely a rug pull. Like, we lost our footing with this. And so it's really just for us about getting back on everybody's 2 feet and rebounding right now.
Homeless, anything helps. Students who, they start their year and they're living somewhere and then told to get out. Come on, man. This has to be deliberate. You didn't check the housing before they came to the university. You didn't think that maybe you should check. And yeah, nothing is affordable anymore.
But the price of
how the fuck are people supposed to survive in this economy? My wife and I went to Aldi's today. I was looking at a roast, a small fucking roast. That roast was $30 at fucking Aldi's. In a decent sized one, $47 fucking dollars for a chunk of meat. They say that meat has gone up 78%, and I believe it. After today, everything in the store is more money. My daughter's breakfast croissants used to be $3.99. Those are $4.99. Box of cereal, $6.99. Gallon of milk, almost $5. The list goes on and on. Everything we buy in the grocery stores now is more fucking expensive. What happened to bringing the cost down? What happened to affordability? What a crock of shit. We're getting scammed every fucking day, and there's nothing we can do about it. I have had it up to here. I don't know what to do. We're fucking prisoners.
Yep.
This is ridiculous.
So Aldi's is supposed to be cheap, right? I've gone into an Aldi's here once, and I looked at the prices and I thought, this doesn't seem very cheap. All right, $7.10, and Truth Stream, subscribe and like. Truth Stream Media belts it out of the park every time they put out a video. And this one, I can't play the whole thing, but I really hope that you watch it and circulate it. Okay? I'm going to play it. And I apologize, Truth Stream Media, that I'm going to play more than a few minutes because people need to see it, not the whole thing. I want everybody to circulate the link, and do what you can. We aren't supposed to live this way. Why are we living this way? We've been so demoralized, so disenfranchised, so infantilized that we can't stand up to all of the people who are doing this to us. And there's so many more of us than there are of them.
St. Mary's Catholic Church, founded in 1857. This is a beautiful building. Look at that. Although I think some of the glasses may be broken. But probably really, really cool in there. Ooh, the stained glass is probably so cool in there. Especially when it's daytime, the sun's out. It's probably really, really beautiful. But right here is a statue. A statue of a homeless guy. But there is a homeless person trying to sleep, and I just noticed him. He's underneath the freaking thing. I didn't know that. Oh, I feel like such a jerk now. Crap. There's a real homeless person who can't sleep on this bench. I think society is going to have to start asking itself some pretty hard questions soon, because what is even the point of a society if large swaths of the population are suffering under that society? If the social contract that's supposed to be the glue that binds that society together is completely destroyed for large majorities of everyone, then what is even the point? If the whole society exists just to benefit a very tiny, tiny number of people and everyone else is completely screwed, that's not really a society that can be held together in any kind of legitimate way.
Americans are packing up and leaving, and they're deciding to live abroad.
People are moving at much higher rates than we've seen in the past.
Why?
The cost-benefit analysis of staying in the U.S. has just changed dramatically.
For some people, a new American dream is emerging, to no longer live in America. Americans are leaving in record numbers.
We have a record amount of Americans right now who are looking at moving out of the country for good in order to have a better life, in order to find affordability, to increase their quality of life, to not just be living on fumes in retirement. And I don't blame them, guys. I really don't. Obviously, things are not what they used to be here.
Now, we all know that more and more Americans are choosing to leave the USA for a better life. But here's something that I wasn't aware of. Currently, the US government has months-long backlog of Americans asking to renounce their citizenship, not moving temporarily out of the country, but to renounce their citizenship.
Have you ever played Monopoly and lost really hard? Somebody else in the game bought up all the properties pretty much, and you just end up as a permanent renter.
Buy some land and houses too. You make it rich from the rent, or you'll be flat broke when the mortgage is due.
Just going around the board to pass go and collect $200 that you're basically just going to give to that person in a fun array of different ways as you go back around the board just to go back to go, get the $200 and do it all over again, over and over and over. Once the game becomes rigged like that and the other people playing figure it out, even though the game could technically continue, for all intents and purposes, the game is over. There's no reason anybody will want to play. And they might as well just leave and quit.
And that is a fabulous analogy. Good job.
51. And I'm done. I am flat out just done with the job market. I'm done with this little American dream, white picket fence BS that we've been sold our whole lives. And I bet you if you clicked on this video, you're done as well.
And I think that's what's going on right now. I think a lot of people are quitting and they're just not really reporting on the figures because, first of all, there's just a lot of data they don't collect. because it would be very impossible to collect. And there's just other data I think they don't collect specifically so that you won't see what's really going on.
Something strange is happening now. Out in the deserts, on forgotten pieces of rural land, in vans, buses, and RVs, another frontier is beginning to form. Only this time, they're not arriving in covered wagons. They're arriving with solar panels, lithium batteries, satellite internet, and everything they own inside a vehicle. The American frontier didn't disappear, it changed. And I think over the next 20 years, more Americans are going to start looking toward the places we were taught nobody wanted.
So it's a two-pronged problem there. But homelessness in this country has already surpassed record numbers a couple of years ago. And that number, I didn't know at the time when I was talking about this, that number doesn't include a whole lot of things. It doesn't include what's called doubling up. So it doesn't include when you have record numbers of people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s having to move back in with their parents.
According to Realtor.com, a record 25.2 million adults under 35 were living with their parents in 2025. That's more than any point on record, including the COVID-19 pandemic peak.
Multiple families are now grouping together in one house because they can't afford the basic bills. It doesn't count people who couch surf. It also doesn't count people living in hotels, which are becoming the new apartments now that fewer and fewer people are able to get approved or afford apartments anymore.
Hotel apartments.
There are an enormous amount of people who are living in hotels. Entire families living in a room.
What you need to do is hand them your money, check in, and you get your keys. You don't have to do a background check, credit check. You can get housekeeping every week if you choose to. You get to pay weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. You don't have to pay any utilities, Wi-Fi, trash, gas, electric, water, everything's included.
Which is happening all over the place. It doesn't count that. It also doesn't count people living in their cars because they have no way of knowing how many people are doing that. But I've been following that trend for a long time because I started following it, looking into Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030 and WEF, and they started really promoting tiny house living and alternate forms of living. And you had this really big promotion of hashtag van life and everything. But now what I'm seeing in that trend is a lot of people just being forced out of housing altogether because it is too expensive for them to even afford like a basic apartment.
I'm 22 years old and I am currently living out of my vehicle.
So I live in Atlanta and I live in my car.
Hey guys, I'm Jack and I live out of my car.
I'm homeless, living here in my car.
What up? I'm in the Target parking lot right now. But this is my lunch. I am in a parking lot on the side of the highway.
Hey gang.
Oof.
Last night was a rough one, not gonna lie.
In the background, you can see this van. That lady's been living here on my property for the past 2 years.
I've been homeless for the last 7 months and trying to hide it. And I realized how many people are in the same fucking shitty position that I'm in. So I'm gonna tell you how I've been surviving it.
I've been living out of this car for 4 months now, and I love it. Like, I don't cry myself to sleep anymore. I don't feel sad.
Wages have not kept up with the housing costs to the point now that home prices have now outpaced median household income growth in all 50 states. And this is a trend they started keeping track of in 2015, and it's just gotten worse. So it isn't just COVID. This is something that was happening before COVID, and then COVID just accelerated everything.
Ooh, we survived another night. Last day of work this week.
I'm trying to keep my car looking as normal as possible because I work a full-time job, and I don't want anybody, to know that I live in my car. But honestly, I don't care anymore. This is my home.
Come with me to Krispy Kreme to get ready for work because I've been living in my car since a minute.
This is a day in the life of a 25-year-old who lives in a car with his wife. We both had work today, so we got up and started our morning routine by taking our window covers down, moving all of our bags around, and brushing our teeth.
And this is despite the government spending $460 billion in HUD spending on housing-related programs. So despite billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars being spent, this problem is only getting worse.
For generations, owning a home has been a cornerstone of the American dream, but for millions of younger Americans, even the down payment is now slipping out of reach. A new report found HUD spent nearly $500 billion trying to make housing more affordable, but home prices still outrun incomes in every single state.
And just like
They spent $500 billion trying to make housing more affordable, and it's become less and less affordable. Whoa, wow, what a great government we've got. They do such great work.
Like we run for the cure instead of ever trying to figure out the cause for most of our health issues in this country. This homelessness situation appears to be a business that people are raking bank off of.
This will blow your freaking mind. Pull out Google and type in Los Angeles homeless house cost. $595,000 per residential unit. Are you joking me? How many people dipped their hands in the pocket of that number before it was actually got to the contractor?
Just another reminder how incompetent governments are. San Francisco's homeless budget is $1.1 billion. There's approximately 7,700 homeless people. Okay? That means that they spend approximately $140,000 per homeless person per year, and they haven't solved shite.
It now costs the city as much as $837,000 per housing unit for the homeless.
They raised over $1 billion in taxes, intended to quickly build housing for the sprawling homeless population in Los Angeles. And somehow, after putting it through the magical money machine that is California, it came back with $837,000 per housing unit.
The money is coming from 2016's voter-approved bond measure HHH. It raised taxes with the intention of building homeless housing quickly, but only about 1,200 units have been built so far. City Controller Ron Galperin says that is, quote, wholly inadequate, end quote.
This is not a refugee camp, and it is not a war zone. This is downtown Los Angeles, and you're looking at Skid Row, the most densely populated homeless area in all of America. Crammed into an area smaller than half a square mile are over 4,500 people living on the streets inside tents. To put it in perspective, Skid Row has more people per square mile than the entire city of Washington, D.C., and every single one of them are homeless.
You have to realize at some point, this is not just incompetence and corruption. It looks like they're actively not trying to solve the problem. It's just like the billions of dollars they've spent on a high-speed rail that's never materialized. It's this same thing. And you would think by now people would fully realize, like, this is not an accident. It's not just incompetence. It's not just regular corruption. This is some other whole entire thing that's going on that's intended to not solve a problem, because right now we're not in the problem-solving phase of this society. We're in the exacerbate and accelerate everything to its destruction so that we can, I guess, sell off the parts for scrap to whatever's coming next. And that's pretty clear when you see things like this, because there's no world in which a single homeless person's housing would cost $837,000. There's no building materials, resources, inflation, supply chain issues. There's no world in which that makes any sense. I could go on Amazon and get a tiny house right now for less than $5,000. Okay, this makes no sense. They're doing it on purpose. They could have fully housed every single homeless person in Los Angeles by now. They obviously don't want to. And I don't know why we can't just talk about these things the way they actually are instead of trying to pretend like they're just so incompetent.
41,000 people are living on city streets. Galperin says the HHH program is unable to meet that demand.
They're not incompetent enough to raise $1.2 billion. They're not incompetent enough to get that money out of people. They figured out a way to make that whole mechanism work. And then they found out a new way to drain it all into some place where it doesn't go to do the very thing it was raised for in the first place.
Link in the chat again, and I will tell you where I stopped. This needs to be circulated far and wide. I stopped at 12 minutes and 43 seconds, and it's 40 minutes and 42 seconds. And there's a lot of information here. We aren't supposed to live this way. We know that. Why are we? Why are we? Okay, so I want you to take a look at radar. Oh. We're looking at destruction. We are South Dakota, Nebraska, and Montana. You've got a nice thunderstorm. Look at all of the frequencies. Okay, the frequencies hitting here. frequencies hitting over here, and North Dakota, shooting them off into Canada. Man, man, oh man. Ah. Boing. Let's manifest. Boing. Kansas. Look at this. Boing. With a tail. Oh, Arkansas. Oh, don't tell me. No more. No more. Please, no more. Texas is not looking good. Yep. Okay. Lots of storms. And this one, wow. Well, sure gets big. Southeast Georgia. We'll just attach the Lego nanobots right here. And South Carolina, North Carolina, and well, did the tornado hit? Look at these frequencies. Come on. Oh my God. Right here. Shooting off into so-called weather fronts. Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland, and New York. Oh, it looks like hail is dropping in New York. Okay, well, we have 14 active for just these 4 states. Wow, Texas, Pennsylvania, New York, and Nebraska. All right, the link I will put in the chat again. And you guys just stay safe and do what you can to help out your community. You know, do what you can to be kind and, you know, just provide solace to those who are hurting. And yeah, keep your word. Be trustworthy. Okay? That's really important right now. Really important. All right, guys. Thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow. Do be safe. Good night. Good luck. Ciao.